A Few Good Nights is a 2 to 4 player game for ages 14 and up with an average gameplay length of 30 to 90 minutes, published by All Night Games. In A Few Good Nights, players attempt to gain the most renown by gathering gold, mana, and complete item sets while avoiding damage and wounds. Gold and mana are earned by collecting sets of gems through rolling 7 adventure dice. The dice options are docile, danger, and deadly dice, which have increasing rewards as well as dangers. After 2 or 3 nights, depending on the game type, players will add together gold, mana, and item sets, then subtract wounds, and the player with the most renown wins. To set up the game, let's start with the items. Shuffle the item card deck and place 12 cards face up in 2 rows of 6. Then place the deck to the side of the cards with room for a discard pile. Then take the potion deck, shuffle, and place 3 cards face up above the item cards on the left. Then place the deck next to it with room for a discard pile. Do the same with the Gem Gamble shop cards on the right side above the items. Then create a supply area for mana, boon, damage, and gem tokens. For the gem tokens, mix them up and place them in a stack. Finally, within reach of all players, place the adventure dice. You will have 7 docile dice, 7 danger dice, and 2 deadly dice. Now for the player setup, each player will receive a player card, dry erase marker, and 2 reference cards. Then randomly choose a first player and give them the first player card. Now if you're playing a quick game, each player will start with 200 gold, which you can write on your player card here, 3 mana, and 1 random Gem Gamble card. In a quick game, you will play 2 days, which is only 6 rounds, which will have 2 dawns, 2 dusks, and 2 nights. To play a full game, which is 3 full days, you will have 9 rounds, and each player will start with 0 gold and only 2 mana. In this example, we will show you how to play a quick game. And starting with the first player, round 1 of the first day we call Dawn, you will go through 2 phases, a planning phase and an adventure phase. In the planning phase, you can do a number of things with gold and mana. In this quick game example, since we have 200 gold and 3 mana and a Gem Gamble card, we can do a few things. We can and will take the buy item action. Here is the gold cost, and if there is a mana cost, it will be here. After purchasing an item, immediately replace the card with a new one from the deck. You will subtract the gold from what you have written on your player card. Since this is part of a set, I will take the equipped action to put it on. You can only have 1 body, 1 neck, 1 feet, and 2 hand items. You can have any number of utility items as long as the total number of your items, equipped or not, does not exceed 7 cards, unless you have a mount. Another action we can take is to purchase a potion from the 3 shown or the top of the potion deck. All potions cost 3 mana, and you can only have a maximum of 3 unused potions at any time. And anytime you purchase a potion, you will also replace it immediately. Another action we will take is to immediately use the potion for this round only. We have to announce the potions we are going to use for the round unless they have these lightning bolts, which will let you use it instantly during any phase of the game. There are more actions we will go over in future turns, but this is all the first player wishes to do. Now we will move on to the adventure phase. We will start by selecting 7 total dice from the docile, danger, and deadly dice supply. The docile dice have only 1 of each gem type, a wild and a goblin. The danger dice has pairs of each gem type, a single goblin and a pair of goblins. And the deadly dice have 2 single warlords, a bomb, a ×2 multiplier, a ×3 multiplier. These multipliers are used on gem sets to double or triple the amount of the specific gem up to a maximum of 10. And they also have a treasure chest. This player will select 4 docile dice and 3 danger dice. Once selected, you will make an initial roll. When rolling, you want to try and get sets of gems since every set will give you gold. The higher count of matching gems in the set, the more gold you can collect, as well as mana. We are looking for matching gems and trying to avoid goblins. Now, once per turn, we have an option to roll as many dice as we would like that are not goblins, warlords, or bombs, in hopes to get larger gem sets. After the roll and optional reroll, we have two options. We can retreat, which can only be done once per day, and that has us skipping damage and rewards from this roll, but you will receive a number of wounds equal to the day number and a single boon. The second option is to collect rewards and damage. Start with the damage. Each goblin does 1 damage, each bomb does 3 damage, and each warlord does 4 damage. When defeating, blocking, or re-rolling, you must match the number to the damage they deal. For example, with only my sword equipped, I can only defeat one of these goblins on this dual goblin die. So I would have to take 1 damage and collect a single damage token. But with my power potion, I have +2 to the ability of my hand item. So I have defeat 3 goblins. So I can defeat both goblins on the die and take no damage. Had this been a warlord, my 3 attack would not be enough to defeat it, so I would have to take all 4 damage and collect 4 damage tokens, which is equal to 1 wound. I would flip a single damage token over to the red side and return the other 3 to the supply. Back to the player. We will add together all the same gems and refer to our player card. We will earn gold and mana based on each set we have rolled. We will add the gold with what we have written here on our player card and collect mana tokens, if any, from the supply. The player's turn ends and you check off the Dawn section of the player card. But before passing to the next player, we will see if any players have a gem gamble card that matches the results that the player rolled and collected. And if that player collected a reward from 4 or more gems, matching the gem card that another player has, that player will gain gold. Next, check if you have less than 1,000 gold than the richest player, and if so, you will gain a boon for each 1,000 you are behind. Now the next player will start their planning phase. They will purchase some items, but before they do, once per turn, if there are any duplicate items in the market, you may discard one and replace it with a new item card. Now the players will spend all their gold and mana on items. Now the only action they can perform is to exchange their gem gamble card with one in the market. After that, they will move on to the adventure phase. Feeling more protected, the player chooses 6 danger dice and 1 deadly die, and they roll. This player got lucky and rolled a chest. Treasure chest reward the player with 400 gold, 1 gem token drawn from the gem stack, and they also get to draw 1 item from the item deck and 1 potion from the potion deck. This item and potion cannot be equipped until the player's next planning phase, and if you exceed your hand limit, you must discard immediately. We will block incoming damage and turn the card to the side to show that it has been used. Add everything together and write the gold total and collect the mana, if any, and check the Dawn box on your player card. Now see if any other players collect from their gem gamble cards. Collect and check if you have 1,000 less gold than the richest player in order to collect a boon. And collect a boon if you are. And finally, pass to the next player. Once all players have finished their Dawn round, you will move on to the Dusk round. Dusk plays the same as Dawn. You will have your planning phase and then your adventure phase. This player wishes to sell items back to the shop, and they can receive half of the listed price. However, if you try to sell something back on the same turn in which you bought the item, it will sell back for 0 gold. Let's pretend this player has a boon they can use. When using a boon, you can do one of these actions. You can re-roll 2 adventure dice, heal 1 wound and collect 3 mana, or you can make another player re-roll one of their adventure dice. After a boon is played, you will flip it over to reveal a tracker goblin and give it to a player who has more gold than you. Tracker goblins deal 2 damage on the player who receive it on their next adventure phase roll. A tracker goblin needs 2 attack to be defeated, or 2 reroll to remove, or just 2 block to block the damage. A player cannot be given or have more than 3 tracker goblins at once, and once the goblin is dealt with, it is discarded. Now back to the player. We will roll. A couple things to look out for when rolling. If you roll a set of 10 gems or more, not only will you collect 1,000 gold and 6 mana, players with less gold than you can collect a gem token. These gem tokens can be added to matching gem rolls to increase the number of gems you count towards your set, or be used to activate some items' special abilities. Or if the rolling player would like to earn a gem token for themselves, they can roll a treasure chest or defeat a warlord, which takes 4 defeat to get rid of. Now the player will add gold and damage totals and collect mana and damage if necessary. Then check to see if the active player has less than 1,000 gold than any other player and collect a boon per 1,000 under the richest player. Next, all other players will check their gem gamble cards and see if they gain any gold from the active player's final roll results. Then the active player will check off the Dusk Round and pass to the next player. Now let's fast forward to the end of the Dusk Round. It is now time for the first Night Round. The active player will flip their card over to the night side and write the number of gold that they currently have on the day side to the night side. Looking at the player card, you will see the night rewards are doubled. However, keep in mind that goblins, trackers, and warlords do double damage as well. But thankfully, the defeat and reroll amounts remain the same. For example, a single defeat will still beat a single goblin at night, but blocking needs to be increased to avoid the increased damage. Another thing to note is that the Twilight Merchant also charges double for all items, potions, and gem gamble cards. If you do not want to risk playing at night, you can take a night's rest. This action will let you skip the night round, meaning you cannot perform any actions in the planning phase or adventure phase. Also, it will let you heal 4 damage, as well as discard any tracker goblins you may have in front of you. Gem gamble cards are still active even if you take a night's rest, and you can still use fast-acting/instant potions. This player feels comfortable and would like to heal their wound, so they will take a night's rest and discard their wound since it is equal to 4 damage, and end their turn by checking off the night box. However, the next player wishes to gamble. The mount they have equipped would normally be ignored at night. However, in their planning phase, as a hand item, they chose to equip the torch, which not only makes it so that goblins and tracker goblins attacks do normal daytime damage, it also allows for mounts to be used at night. Warlords are not affected by the torch, so just to be safe, the player decides to roll 7 orange danger dice and 0 black deadly dice to avoid the warlord altogether. They roll, defeat what they can, take damage from what they cannot, and gain gold and mana equal to the night side of their player card. Check if boons are awarded, or if any gamble cards pay out. Then pass to the next player. The next player takes their turn, and at the end of it, the night round ends. With the night round over, all items, potions, and gem gamble cards in the shop are discarded, and a new refresh shop is drawn from the deck. 12 item cards, 3 potion cards, and 3 gem gamble cards. The first player card passes to the left, and now all players will flip their player cards over to the dawn and dusk side. Write the new gold amount, if changed, to the front of the card, and continue to play like normal. Since we chose to play a quick game, the game will end after all players have completed the next night round. Let's skip ahead to the end of the final night round in order to score. When scoring renown, every 100 gold is worth 1 renown. Then add each set of 4 mana, which are worth 2 renown each, and now check for matching item sets. which award 5 renown and can be identified by the type and number 1 through 4 of 4. If incomplete, no renown is scored. And finally, subtract renown based on the number of wounds you have at the end of the game. 1 wound loses you 1 renown, 2 wounds lose you 4, 3 wounds loses you 9, and 4 wounds lose you 16 renown. If during your last round, or any time during the game, you took a 5th wound, and if you could not heal it by the end of the turn you received it, you are eliminated from the game. Total all of these together, and the player with the most renown is the winner. And that is how you play a quick game of A Few Good Nights. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified about new videos. If you're bored now, click this for more games.